Hello everyone, well here we go again. Welcome to another season of Winter Updates from GavsWeatherVids. This is the first Winter 2024-25 update brought to you exclusively from GavsWeatherVids. So thank you so much everybody for tuning in to our first Winter Update. We'll be doing Winter Updates every week from now right way through to the end of November. I haven't counted them up, but there's normally about 13 Winter Updates along with 3 Season 1 roundups, building up the picture forensically week by week until we get to the end of November. And then we release our winter forecast. I can tell you the GavsWeatherVids Winter 2024-25 forecast will be released, can you believe this, on Sunday the 1st of December. So there we go, you already have the date at the beginning of the first winter update this year. Thank you so much everybody for tuning in. I should get on with your first winter update in a moment. It's going to be an epic, probably quite a long video because I'm going to explain the methodology as we go along. But it's going to be very, very interesting first update to start us off. We're going to begin with a presentation outside of a box from our good friend Richard Traut, and there's lots and lots of goodness to enjoy through this winter update as well. So I'll get on that for you in a second. Just to say that if you're enjoying the content on the channel at the moment, please do like, share and subscribe. And thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. Don't forget, we release our NAO forecast, Winter 2024-25, back at the beginning of July. We premiere that. So if you have not checked out the NAO forecast, it's like the starting point of the countdown to the winter updates. Then check that out. You can find it on the GavsWeatherVids YouTube homepage. Thank you so much to Richard for our amazing winter updates gift. Thank you so much, Rich. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it so much, my friend. Absolutely fantastic. One of the best you've done, I think. Thank you so much. And thank you so much to Shryan as well. Thank you so much to Shryan Brilliant for help on this update. When we get to the sections that Richard and Shryan have helped with, then, you know, I'll give them a shout out. You will be seeing a swingometer as well from Richard later on in the winter updates. It takes a few to be able to calculate that. So I think it'll be about from update number 4, something like that, which is going to have a bit of a holiday. And then when it gets back, a king of swing will be swing away, won't you, Rich? I'll swing a Rich. Oh, sorry, my friend. Right, thanks to Terry Scully as well, of course. Yeah, hashtag Team Gav, always doing an amazing job for us. Right, well, that's all of the announcements done and dusted. Exciting times. Let's turn off the webcam. And as I said, we're going to begin this first winter update with an outside-the-box presentation from Rich. So why don't we do that to start us off? Rich, as I say, can be having a holiday soon. So happy holidays, Rich. But he has done an outside-of-the-box for us before he goes. So let's do this then. Remember, I'm reading the script here. So I'm always pretty dicey. So any mistakes, it's my fault, not Richard's. Okay. Right, let's do this then. So, outside the box, GavsWeatherVids 2024-25 Winter Special by Richard Traut. Thank you so much, my friend. Let's have a look at this then. So, this time it's all about May and June, so the CET, Central Temperature Series. This year, May and June had at one stage identical CT values at 14.1, although June was technically 14.0. What is remarkable is that it is quite rare for May and June are within 0.6 of a degree of each other. So I look back from 1840 to 2024, which is a good timescale and helps with reanalysis. The years where they were within 0.6 of a degree of each other were as follows: 1841, 1848, 1862, 1960, 1980, 1964, 2008, and 2024. So, as you can see, rare, just like those out-of-box subjects are, perfect to look back at what happened with the winters that followed. without overcomplicating the analogues, we will look at each winter individually, then look at the whole series combined. Okay, let's do that, Rich. Thank you so much, my friend. So this is how the winter of 1841-1842 came out. Looks cold, plenty of blocking up to the north. Remember, for our winter forecast analogues, we tend not to go past 1950, but for the outside of the box specials, Rich does go back beyond 1950. So that makes these very special and unique, doesn't it, Rick? So, for the winter of 1841-1842, anyway, looks cold with winds in from the east, an easterly cold winter to start us off there. Then we have 1848-1849. This one looking a lot milder, though. Low pressure is up around Greenland, Iceland. High pressure is down towards Spain, and winds are coming up from a southwesterly direction. Right, then we go through to 1862, 1863. How does this one come out? Low pressure to the north, high pressure south-southwest. This looks like to be a relatively mild westerly Atlantic-driven type winter. We move on to 1916, 1917. This is a very cold winter. There aren't many very cold winters in the first 40 years of the 20th century. First 45 years from 1895. Aren't many cold ones, but this is one of them. Right in the middle of the First World War. Low pressure down to the south, a jet stream down here, blocking way towards Greenland, and winds coming in from the east. Wasn't quite a sub-zero CET winter, but it wasn't far off it. Severe winter of 1916, 1917. Then we have 1918, 1919. This one's a milder winter. It does start off a bit cold, I think, but gets mild as the jet stream pushes northwards and high pressure retreats away to the north then. And then we've got 1964, 1965. This is quite a cold winter as well. So, sorry everyone, with plenty of low pressure across the north and west of Europe. High pressure is up towards Greenland and Iceland, and winds coming in from an easterly direction there. So that's quite a coldish winter, especially later on, I think, through like February and March in particular. And then we've got 2008, 2009, and this one has high pressure to the north and low pressure down to the south, and winds coming in from the east. That's the first of the run of colder winters from 08, 09 to 12, 13. That's our last real run of colder winters, from 08, 09 to 2012, 2013. And that is included within Richard's outside of the box as well. So putting all of that together, this is how the winter analogue overall is coming out for the winters of 1841, 1842, 1848, 1849, 1862, 1863, 1916, 1917, 1918, 1919, 1964, 1965, and finally 08, 09. And it looks like it could be a cold signal. Bear in mind, we have got a few from the 1800s, though, which of course is a colder period, but it certainly has a blocking signal around Greenland. We have plenty of below average heights across western and southwest Europe. Winds tend to be in from an easterly direction. So definitely the overall analogue for those winters looks to be rather on the colder than average side there on the outside of the box. But what about winter 2024-25? Questions. I'm going to put in a couple of question marks as well, Rich. Why don't I do that? You've got question marks there, but I'm going to put my own in just there. So what about it? I wonder, what's it going to be? What's it going to be? Well, hopefully Gav will have given you some interest there. As you can see, only 8 times this has happened since in 184 years. So this exercise was well worthy of an out-of-the-box special. There will be there are a few interesting winters in there. What will 2024-25 bring? We shall see. Well, thank you everyone for watching this one. Keep watching all the GavsWeatherVids winter updates. Hopefully everyone enjoyed the full series. Sure you will. Regards, Richard 2024. Thank you so much, my friend. thank you so much for the Outside the Box special for 2024-25. Unbelievable. The work that must have took, absolutely amazing. So much, my friend. And that gets us off to a very, very, very nice start, I think. So, as Richard says, sit back, relax, enjoy. And we've got an entire season of winter updates ahead of us. And we've got more to show you this first winter update. So I'll pause the video there, have a little break. And when we return, we're going to have some solar data for you. So I shall see you very, very soon with that. Okay, it's time to resume the first winter 2024-25 update from GavsWeatherVids. Thank you so much to my amazing friend Richard Traut, not only for the gift that you're looking at just here, but also for the outside of box special presentation that we just went through. Thank you so much, my friend. Gets us off to an absolute flyer for our season of winter updates. Thank you so much. Right, let's move on then. Have a look at solar data. So this is how solar disk is looking on our side of this today from solarham.net. Always look at solar data in our winter updates. We have done right way since we started these back in 2012, and you know, as long as I'm doing winter updates, we will continue to look at solar data. So we have got several solar disks on our side of this day from solarham.net. Therefore, solar activity is at moderate levels and is expected to remain at moderate levels for the next 3 days. Well, here comes the GavsWeatherVids first winter update for 2024-25 solar activity tracker. This has been sent through by Shryan. Thank you so much to Shryan Bruin for sending this through for us. So you didn't get to see this, I don't think, in the last Sunday roundup, but we did at the beginning of August. So it's been a while since you've seen the solar tracker, but solar cycle 25 continues to develop. You can see here, it really has been in the last year or so that the cycle has ramped up quite a lot, actually. Thick green lines and thick blue lines are our trend lines. The orange line and orange spots depicting each individual day's worth of sunspot activity. So you had a big old lift up in sunspot activity there back earlier in the summer through July. We have dropped down a little bit from that level, high level at the moment. We are still at a high level of solar activity though, compared to most of the solar cycle. Obviously, we're at solar maximum, or we're very close to solar maximum, so you would expect quite a high level of solar activity. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out as we run up towards winter. I've got a feeling we'll probably see more orange spots up here, maybe even lifting up to there, but it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. But, you know, definitely since, like, we go back to the 1st of September with this, 2022, when we was around here. So definitely from there, and I say particularly in the last year or so, we have seen a significant increase in activity. This says actually comparing the current solar cycle, number 25, past 2 solar cycles. Solar cycle 24 was quite a quiet solar cycle, of course. Solar cycle 23, much more active. And look how we're now dwarfing, really, the sunspot numbers, monthly sunspot numbers that we had. So, cycle 24. So that's 24 just there. And this is 25. So we are now significantly above, actually, in terms of both daily and also monthly sunspot numbers. We are now significantly above cycle 25, cycle 24. And we are kind of now reaching the sort of levels we were at with solar cycle 23 when we was up here. That solar cycle ran from 1996 2008, of course, and at its peak when it had 2 peaks. Solar cycle 23, one in 2000 and another peak in 2002. We are short of a peak, don't get me wrong. The peak for solar cycle 23 is up here. So far our peak is just there, so we are quite way short of the actual peak of solar cycle 23, but we're in the pack anyway now, that sort of level. If I could draw a straight line, which I probably can't, you see, but we are sort of in that level now with the monthly returns that we're getting for solar cycle 25. So this has turned out to be a much more active solar cycle than it was anticipated. It was anticipated, but solar cycle 25 would be down here, somewhere around solar cycle 24. I remember a few years ago there was actually talk about a grand solar minimum taking place. Well, obviously there's absolutely no sign about it. You don't hear much talk about grand solar minimum at the moment, and yeah, this is a pretty active solar cycle now. Solar cycle number 25 will probably still come in underneath solar cycle 23, but it is certainly a significantly more active solar cycle than 24 was. Thanks to Stratospheric for sending through and updating our solar trackers, and you will see more of the solar trackers as we go through this season of winter updates. This is from Rich. Thank you so much, Richard Traut, sending mystery, spotless days, and the current spotless stretch for 2024. So all days in 2024. Let's not get ourselves into a muddle with this gap. All days in, as I can sometimes do, can't I, Rich? All days in 2024 have had sunspots, so we have 0 days in terms of spotless days, and that was true for 2023 as well. 2022 had 1 day, but didn't have any sunspots, and then 2021 had 64 days, get closer to the solar minimum year, of course. 2020 had 208 days, and our solar minimum year was 2019, which had 281 days, 77% of the year without sunspots. So our comparable year from the last solar cycle, I think, is 2013. So all days in 2013 had sunspots. There were 0 spotless days, and so you'll expect this to continue for 2024. Interestingly, 2014, just here, which will be next year's comparable year, I think, and that was the true solar maximum year, also cycle 24 as well, by the way. That did actually have 1 day, but didn't but had no sunspots, you know, so that's really quite unusual. And then 2015 as well, with 0 days just there. And then, you know, we get to 2016, and that's when the solar minimum begins to start showing its hand. So that implies it'll probably be around 2027 that we can expect to start seeing spotless days increasing. But for now, we are well and truly, we're not at true solar maximum, you know, we are well and truly close to solar maximum. Later on in the season, winter updates, of course, we'll be doing analogues and analysis from years picked out by Terry Scully that will be trying to explain what it could mean, you know, for the winter being around this phase of the solar cycle. So that will be coming up later on in this season of winter updates. Thank you so much, Shryan, and thank you so much, Terry, for sending through the solar data to Richard. Sorry, thank you so much to Richard, and thank you so much to Shryan sending through the solar data there. So, sorry everyone, been pretty good so far, hasn't it? Well, let's move on to the QBO. So, this is coming from NASA, Quasi-Binary Oscillation. These are the levels of the atmosphere just here. We've got 10 HPA up at the top of the atmosphere in the stratosphere with 30 to 50 HPA, which is the boundary level of the atmosphere, that called the troposphere, just here. So this brown sandy coloured area here, descending from the stratosphere down to troposphere, is the latest phase of the westerly QBO, so the latest westerly QBO phase. If you like, this blue-green area is the last easterly QBO phase. Remember, last winter was an easterly QBO winter for 2023-24. Despite that, it wasn't a cold winter. The reason we look at this is that it's basically telling us how strong the zona westerlies are, you know, through the winter. It's primarily a winter driver. So when you're in a westerly QBO, as the name implies, you strengthen the zona westerlies. Therefore, you would assume that westerly QBO winters are more likely to be Atlantic-driven and mild and westerly for northern and western Europe. On the other hand, when you're in an easterly QBO, you weaken off the zona westerlies, and so you will think an easterly QBO winter is more likely to have weaker westerly winds, weaker zonality, more aware blocking, and will therefore for northwest Europe be a colder winter. It's not as simple as that, though. There are many westerly QBO winters, or there are some westerly QBO winters that have been cold, and there are a lot of easterly QBO winters, such as last winter, that have been mild. Nevertheless, it's always something that we look at in our season of winter updates, and later on in the updates, of course, we will be through reanalysis explaining what a westerly QBO winter could mean. This is from NOAA, just showing that these are the yearly and monthly QBO numbers. So easterly QBOs are the negative numbers just here, westerly QBOs are the positive numbers, such as what we see there. 2024 is down here. Whoops, let's get rid of that. Do that again. 2024 down here. So you start off the year with an easterly QBO, then it reversed in the summer. Our most recent number is just here, and that's for July at plus 6.91. August QBO number will be placed just there, and we should have that for you next week for a second winter update. I would suspect that as we go along through this season of winter updates, the positive numbers will get bigger, as the westerly QBO strengthens. So we shall be keeping a very, very close eye on that. Now, this is a fan favourite, and there's not a lot of reason to include this at the moment because it becomes more pivotal later on in the winter updates. This is the way that we do winter updates. At the start, some things are more important than other things, and then later on, other things are more important than some things, if you get what I mean. So this becomes much more important, particularly for October and into November, but this is showing Eurasian snow cover and Arctic sea ice extent. So we have actually got some white patches here across the extreme eastern portion of Russia and Siberia. Not many of them, but for this early in the season, remember, it's just the 30th of August, so this early in the season, that is a relatively unusual amount of whiteness. So you see that, just little patches, but it is relatively unusual to see that much in August. But eventually this whole area will fill up with snow, and how quickly the snow advances across Russia and Siberia, and also, of course, into Scandinavia as well, that is always something that we focus on. It can translate back, get a very quick build-up of snow cover across Russia and Siberia. Seems like it can translate back to an increase in the strength of the Siberian high. But, there is a big caveat with that, as the Siberian high could do two things. The Siberian high, building through here, can ridge into Western Russia and to Scandinavia, and eventually pull those easterlies into Western Europe, UK and Ireland being just there, of course. But the Siberian high can also go in another direction. And that's what people tend to forget with this particular methodology. The Siberian high can also go in that direction across the pole and down into Canada and North America. And if it does that, it can help to blow up the jet stream by bringing extreme cold air down Canada into North America, help to blow up jet stream, and actually increase cyclogenesis and zonality and westerly winds and storminess across the North Atlantic into northern and western Europe, such as some of you might remember the winter of 2013-2014, for example. So for those that want a cold winter, a strengthened Siberian high can be a blessing, or it can be a curse. Now, the white area, as I say, we'll look at this much more, and we'll do year-by-year comparisons and all of that stuff, later on in winter updates. Now, this yellow area is Arctic sea ice extent. Of course, we are close now to the minimum for Arctic sea ice extent for this season. Probably a couple of weeks left of belt season, if that. So let's have a quick look at this then. So this blue line is showing us how the melt season is going. Obviously, we have our peak of Arctic sea ice extent up here around March, early March anyway. Things haven't been downhill all the way, as you'd expect, through the melt season. and we are just there with Arctic size extent at the moment. So let's see how we're doing compared to our long-term averages. So we've got 2011, 2020, just there. We're very close to the most recent 10-year average, 2011 to 2020, a little bit underneath it, but not all that far away from it. We are significantly under 2001 to 2010, 10-year average, as you would expect. We're going to be even more under 1991 to 2020 average, and then we've got the 20-year average of 1979 to, that's not 20-year average, what are you talking about, Gav? It's a 10-year average from 1979 to 1990, and we're even further underneath that. So our most recent average, though, we're not all that far away from it. Let's see how we're comparing then to recent years. We've got 2023 just there, very close to last year for this year's melt season. Arctic size extent, a little bit underneath it, but not much in it. We are now underneath 2022, however, and we're underneath 2021 as well. Get rid of those. So we're a little bit ahead of 2020, though. Not doing quite as badly 2020. We're on virtually dead on 2019. We're underneath 2018. We are underneath 2017 as well. Yes, we are. We're on a par with 2016. You know, neck and neck. 2016, 2015. With virtually at parity with that year. 2014, we're underneath 2014, and we will be underneath 2013 as well. But it's our record minimum year. How are we doing compared to record minimum year? Here we go. So we're actually quite significantly ahead of 2012 now. So it looks, unless something very unusual and dramatic happens in the next couple of weeks, it looks as though 2012 record minimum year is safe again for another year. That will be, what, 12 years now since the last record minimum year. 2011, we're very close to that one, a little bit underneath it, not much in it. We are underneath 2010. And we're underneath 2009, we are a little bit underneath 2008, we're on a par with 2007, we're well underneath 2006, and we're well underneath 2005. I won't go any further back because we're going to be underneath all of those other years. I might go back, in another winter update, right way to 1979. But I think prove a point that we're having another really big melt season again this year. There's only a couple of years that that we are actually not doing as badly as in terms of Arctic size extent. One was 2020, of course, record minimum year in 2012. Otherwise, there's a couple of years we're on a par with 2019, 2016, and most of the other years we're around or a little bit under. Certainly back to like 2011, 2012 anyway. And then when you get further back from that, we are significantly under most of those years. So another big melt season, but it looks like the record minimum year is safe. The reason we look at that, by the way, is that when we have a record minimum year, of course, in 2012, it was followed by the cold winter, 2012-13, across Northern Europe. And there was a theory that at least part of the blocking of that winter, and maybe the sudden stratospheric warming that occurred in January, might have been at least partly helped along the way by the big melt season that we saw in the Arctic during that melt season. But it is controversial. It's controversial methodology, and other scientists have said that there's no connection. Right, anyway, but we keep looking at it in winter updates. Right, we're going to pause the video there. We come back and look at oceans data. So stand by. Lots more still to come. I shall see you in 2 seconds. Okay, we're back with the first winter 2024-25 update from GavsWeatherVids. It's been pretty good so far, hasn't it? I hope you enjoyed it. You have, please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks so much to everybody for doing that. This is unique content. You can't really see this depth and level of content anywhere else on YouTube or online. So, tell your friends, tell your family about the unique content that we're doing here at GavsWeatherVids. Get them to subscribe. It's this kind of thing that they're going to be interested in. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody. We're back to another season of winter updates. I never take this for granted, I never take it for granted that I'm going to be here next year doing winter updates and whatnot. So, I just love it. I take every year, you know, as a gift, really, that I'm still able to sit here and do this for all of you. And I thank you all so very much for keep coming back every year to our season of winter updates. It's incredible. It's unbelievable. And thank you so much. Let's try and make this season 2024-25 the best yet. Okay, we're going to have a look at oceans data. So this is how the oceans are currently looking in terms of the Indian Ocean, the Pacific Ocean, and also the Atlantic Ocean. So we've got the ENSO region just here, equatorial Pacific Ocean. We've got the Northern Pacific up here with a particular focus on the Northeastern Pacific. The Indian Ocean is over there, and we've got the Atlantic Ocean through here. Let's deal with the Indian Ocean first of all. So we've got cooler area up here, we've got warmer area over here. The Indian Ocean dipole, we won't look at it for this update, but I can tell you the IOD Indian Ocean dipole is currently on the warm side of neutral, and it's expected to remain around neutral through the remainder of the autumn and into winter, possibly shifting from the warm side of neutral to the cold side of neutral. We'll talk a little bit more about that in maybe next week's update, have a look at a bit of forecast data and whatnot, but nothing overly dramatic going on in terms of the Indian Ocean dipole. And now this is the ENSO region, of course, and we've been waiting for La Nina, and these blue area just here, cold and average sea surface temperature anomalies stretched out across the equatorial Pacific Ocean from Peru, just there, to the Indonesia, I should say, over here. That is a feature of La Nina. See how those cold waters are gathering off the coast of Chile and South America. That's usually a precursor to a cold event. This has strengthened a little bit. This La Nina signature has strengthened a little bit in the last couple of weeks or so. This chart will be the basis of where we're going to go on from. So I won't do a comparison back to any previous charts for this update, but next week, you know, we'll compare next week's sea surface temperature anomalies to this week, if you get what I mean, and then we will move on week by week from there. But we have definitely in the eastern portion of the equatorial Pacific Ocean anyway seen a strengthening of the colder than average sea surface temperature anomaly signal, and so La Nina is gradually beginning to get a foothold, but it's a very late and slow starter. In the northern Pacific, it looks pretty warm up there. Don't really have a cold PDO signature yet, but it is getting quite cold up here, close to Alaska and whatnot. So that will be something to keep an eye on, I think, over the next 2 or 3 months. As the La Nina develops, if it does, you would expect a response in this area in terms of the sea surface temperature is starting to cool down. And then in the North Atlantic, this is how things are looking. Generally still quite warm, as it always is at the moment in the North Atlantic, particularly around here, but also in the tropical and subtropical Atlantic, Gulf of Mexico, Caribbean, etc., etc., etc. It has turned a little bit cooler. The sea surface temperature is just to the west of the UK and Ireland, around there, and off the coast of Greenland. That's probably down to meltwater and that sort of thing. And in the Norwegian Sea, by the way, it's looking pretty warm up there in terms of the sea surface temperature anomalies as well. This is a 7-day change over the past 7 days, so that's how things are shaping up. So cooling, you know, looks like it's beginning to get going in the northeast Pacific. That will be something to keep an eye on in the next few weeks. And in the ENSO region, most areas are cooling, especially through the far eastern portion of the equatorial Pacific Ocean, but also out in the western portion as well. So gradually it does look as though La Nina is beginning to get going. And in the Atlantic, well, this area has cooled a little bit. Well, this area has actually warmed quite a lot. That's the subtropical Atlantic, of course. Subtropical Atlantic, I should say. But generally, you know, even the areas that are cooling, like here, because the sea surface temperatures are so warm, then even if we cool it down by 2 or 3 degrees, it's still above average, if you get what I mean. Now, let's look at the Southern Oscillation Index. Remember, the SOI is an index that's reflecting the atmosphere. It's not driving anything, so just tell us what the atmosphere is doing. When the SOI is in a positive phase, the atmospheric setup will be reflective of La Nina. When the SOI is in a negative phase, the atmospheric setup will be reflective of El Nino. So it's negative numbers for El Nino, positive numbers for La Nina. Measuring air pressure between Tahiti and Darwin in the southern Pacific Ocean, been coming up with an overall SOI number just seen. Now, the reason, or I think the main reason that the La Nina has been very slow getting going is that the atmosphere has generally been in an El Nino type setup, while the ocean has been wanting to go to La Nina. So if you come down here to earlier monthly returns, 9th of August, for example, was at minus 21.12. 10th of August was at minus 16.87. Gives the idea that the atmospheric setup, through most of this summer has been reflective of El Nino. However, look what's happened over the past couple of weeks or so. Strongly positive numbers, sustained positivity as well. So 17th of August, this is where it all kicks off, plus 21. We've got the 19th of August, plus 28. We've got the 22nd of August, plus 25. We've got 26th of August, plus 22. In between, we stay positive as well, and then we come up to those recent daily SOI numbers. Remember, these are preliminary, but they don't tend to change that much. So 27th of August at plus 19, 28th of August at plus 13, 29th of August at plus 10, 30th of August at plus 11, and the latest daily return is 31st of August at plus 22.03. Now, look what that's done to the red line here, to our 30-day average. It's absolutely rocketing. That's where it was back in the earlier part of August, really quite negative, around minus 10, but now we're heading up to plus 10. The red line, but not the 30-day average, is virtually going vertical there. The orange or yellow dashed line, that's the 90-day average. That doesn't move as much, because it is 90-day average. That hasn't really started lifting up yet. But if this positivity of the SOI is sustained, then we can expect the 90-day average to also start moving. And this could be the definitive shift into La Nina. I think it definitely could be. And that explains how and why we're seeing a strengthening of the La Nina signature there. Over the past, particularly over the past couple of weeks, as the atmosphere and the ocean, after a very delayed start, looks like it's finally beginning to couple. CFSV2 still going for La Nina, as it has done all the way along. So sea surface temperature anomalies are on the side. Dates in monthly periods are along the bottom. We're currently around here, I think. So still a little bit short of the 0.5 degree below average threshold, but we need to get to. Remember, we've got to sustain that over 5 tri-monthly periods have a designated La Nina. However, black dash line being predicted to go down to around 1 degree below average. That is into La Nina threshold. Weak La Nina being predicted by CFS. It has backed off its super La Nina. We're not going to get a super La Nina. We probably won't get a strong La Nina even. It's probably too late for that. But we might just about get to a moderate La Nina. More likely it's going to be a weak La Nina, a weak cold event. But it could well be that it is on its way, and we will be keeping you updated throughout this season winter updates on what's going on, not only with La Nina, but also, what's going on in all of the other oceans as well. Now, connected to the oceans is the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season. And to just go back here, despite having really quite a warm subtropical Atlantic, you look at that and think that's absolutely primed for a big hurricane season. Despite that, that's actually been quite a quiet beginning of a hurricane season. Anyway, so this is the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season page from Wikipedia. And these are the scores on the doors, Miss Ford, for our first winter update. So we've had 5 depressions, 5 tropical storms, 3 hurricanes. We have had 1 major hurricane as well, which occurred very early on in the season. I think that was Beryl, wasn't it? Hurricane Beryl. Just there, which had maximum sustained winds of 165 miles per hour at one point, which is category 5 hurricane, I think. So, and that's right at the beginning of the season. That occurred late June and into early July, which is absolutely bizarre. But since then, there's been a bit of a shutdown, actually, in the hurricane season, and there's not been all that much going on. It is still early days, so we've got peak months of September and October still to go. We could still get hurricanes into November as well, so we shall keep you updated on that, as we always do. We haven't got our ACE page updated for this first update. Both Shrine and myself forgot with everything else that I had to get ready for this first winter update. But this is the Atlantic Hurricane Season by ACE page, going all the way back to 1851. Classifications are below normal, near normal, above average, hyperactive. And of course, ACE, accumulated cyclone energy, is measuring the total amount of energy that each of these individual storms is giving out, and then giving an overall accumulated cyclone energy for the season as a whole. And next week we will have that updated for you. I promise you we will. Won't we, Shryan? Right, Arctic Oscillation, we will, won't we, Shryan? We will, won't we? Yeah. Alright, Arctic Oscillation, observed and forecast is looking like this. Been a good update, this, hasn't it? It's gone well. I never know whether I'm going to be rusty when I start off. I probably have been a bit rusty, but not been too bad, hopefully. Still got a bit more to do, though. Right, Arctic Oscillation, observed and forecast. Black line shows where we've been with the Arctic Oscillation. Red lines at the end with GFS on Solomons forecast the Arctic Oscillation to go. Remember, the AO is just an index that's reflecting the atmospheric state, doesn't drive anything, so in turn just tells us what the atmosphere is doing. When the AO is in a positive phase, then, of course, we're going to have low pressure over the Arctic and Pole. When the AO is in a negative phase, we're going to have high pressure blocking over the Arctic and over the North Pole. Well, through most of this summer, actually, minus like the early part of June, most of the summer, the AO has either been in a neutral to positive phase, particularly through much of August, which explains, I suppose, partly at least, what has been quite a westerly type summer. We're still positive with the AO at the moment. GFS ensembles are forecasting the Arctic Oscillation to move from positive to neutral, and then maybe by the middle of September going into a negative phase. So that could be an indication for some blocking start appearing over the Arctic and the Pole. And at the same time, the NAO looks like it's on the move as well. So again, through most of this summer, minus again the first half of June, which you remember was quite cold actually, and a little bit unsettled. But since like the third week of June anyway, the NAO along with the AO has been in either a neutral or positive phase generally, and right now we are currently positive with the NAO. However, the black dashed lines are forecast that by the middle of September the NAO may be going into a negative phase. So with both the AO and the NAO possibly going negative by the middle of September, that could be a cooler and wetter signal for the UK and western parts of Europe by the middle of September. We shall keep you posted on that. We will have more on the NAO and AO as well. We're going to have some extended forecasts, which is going to be something different and new for this particular season of winter updates. We'll have extended AO and NAO forecasts covering several weeks and whatnot coming up over the over season winter updates. Not for this one, but stand by. You will be seeing that later on in winter updates, and maybe even as early as next week. Right, okay, so let's have a look at the Strat then. Not much going on, of course, with stratospheric temperature at 10 HPA over the Arctic and North Pole at the moment. This is the latest forecast from the GFS. So over the next couple of weeks, we do start seeing some blue appearing. That's basically the polar vortex getting its act together over the North Pole and gradually beginning to strengthen in the stratosphere there, widening, expanding out as we get into the middle of September. So, you know, that's a pretty good depiction of the PV. As we run through the first half of September, beginning to develop, beginning to expand and whatnot in the stratospheric level. That's like the PV at its roots in the stratosphere. This will become much more important later on in the season, you know, along with the AO and NAO, become much more important, much more pivotal later on in the season of winter updates. So we only touch on this, you know, to start off with, but you will be seeing a lot more of that in terms of stratospheric predictions, what's going on with Strat and whatnot. All of that will become much more important as we get later on into the winter updates. Right, okay, we've got one last thing to show you. And then we're going to be done. Been an epic video so far. I've run at 3/4 of an hour. Thank you so much, everybody. I'm going to pause the video one last time. And when we come back, we're going to discuss something a little bit different, which is the possibility of a 14-year cycle of colder winters. Could we be at the point, you know, the 14th year since the last point of this cycle that we're talking about? I explain it all after I pause the video. So go away, you know, digest what you've just witnessed, come back, and we've got a little bit more to show you. So I shall see you in 2 seconds. Okay, we're back. We're ready to resume for the final time the first winter update from GavsWeatherVids for 2024-2025. If you have enjoyed this winter update, we're nearly at the end now. If you enjoyed this winter update, please do like, share, and subscribe. And thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. As I say, it's unique content that you're seeing here at GavsWeatherVids. The depths that we go to, you know, to bring you all of this data with the winter updates week by week by week, building up the picture forensically. Nobody else goes to the level that we go to. So thank you so much, you know, for, as I say, for coming back year after year after year to see our winter updates. I say never take it for granted, and I always kind of have a mindset that this might be my final year, you know, because you never know. Nobody ever knows what's around the corner. So I try to make every year of winter updates the best year, in case this is the last year that I get to do. Who knows, this might be my last year. We'll have to wait and see. But thank you so much, everybody, anyway, for an incredible first winter update, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Just got a little bit more to show you. Right, so 14-year cycle of colder winters. There are other forecasts that have been talking about this, and I'm not going to go through those forecasts, whatnot, because they don't really comment on people's forecasts, but I thought it was, you know, it could be something interesting to look at. So is there a 14-year cycle of colder winters? Obviously, if we go back 14 years from now, we get back to 2010. So from 2024, we go back to 2010. And then from 2010, we go back to 1996. From 1996, we go back to 1980. From 1980, we go back to 1966. From 1966, we go back to 1952. Then to 1938, then to 1924. Then to 1910, then to 1896, then to 1882, then to 1863. And as far back as we're going, Shrine's got this table for us. Make sure it's a Shrine brilliant for that. We go back to 1854. So how does the median winter CTs come out for these, you know, 14 years going backwards? Or I suppose we can go forward. So from 1854, which of course is winter of 1853-1854, we see a cold winter, and then we go close to average for the next median winter, which is 1867-1868. The next one is 1881-1882, and we actually go above average for that one. But then we go a little bit cooler than average for 1895-1896, then a little bit cooler than average again for 1909-1910. A little bit colder for 1923-1924, close to average for 1937-1938, colder than average 1951-1952, close to average for 65-66, though that did have a cold first half of winter. February, you know, was milder. 1979-80, close to average, but cold for 95-96 and cold for 2009-2010. 2009-10 was the coldest winter since 1978-1979. Of course, there's various ways that you can play this. So if we go back 14 years from now, we could either be talking about 2009-10, or we could be talking about 2010-2011. So Shrine has helpfully put in the preceding and succeeding winters as well from those medium range winters. So 2008-9 was colder than average, and 2010-2011 was colder than average. Not as cold as 09-10, because it had a mild February, but it did have the December to remember, that freezing cold December. 1996 looks like this. So 94-95 was relatively mildish winter, slightly close to average, but relatively mild, really. The succeeding winter, though, is 96-97, and that was quite cold. Then back further than that, we've got 78, 79, which is a very cold winter, quite a severe winter with our last sub-zero city January. Whilst the succeeding winter of 1980, 1981 was close to average. Remember, the following winter after that, though, which was 81, 82, that was cold. Then we go back the next 14 years. So, of course, the median winter is 1965, 1966. But the winter before that, 64, 65, was quite cold, especially later on. 66, 67, though, was quite a mild winter. And then back beyond that, 50, 51, that was a cold winter, particularly so in December. And also 52, 53 was quite cold as well. Back into the 1930s, 1936-7 was mild, 37-38 was quite cold, and then 38-39 was rather on the cool side as well, had a cold and snowy Christmas, famously, White Christmas. 1922-1923 was mild, as was 1924-1925, so it doesn't really work out that well, this theory, for the 1920s. The 1910s, well, we've got 1908-1909, which was quite a cold winter, and then 1910-1911 was a mild winter. We have got also the severe winter of 1894-1895 in with this. So two severe winters, interestingly, 78-79 and also 1894-1895 as well. And also got 1896-97, which was a bit on the cold side as well. And then further back, 1880-1881, that was a severely cold, well, it was a cold winter with a severely cold January. Not quite as cold, though, for 1882-1883. We have, with this, got the exceptionally mild winter of 1868-1869, mildest winter on record in the mix, so we've got to keep that in mind. But we have got a close to average winter there for 1866-1867. And the last one is 1852-1853, which was a little bit mild average, although 1854-1855 was, I think, quite a cold and quite severe winter. So, you know, looking at that, you probably, and Shrine's put in lots of notes as well, which I haven't got time to go through, but I'm sure those of you that are able to can read those notes. But looking at the table, I think we probably do see a little bit of a cycle there. You know, it probably works-ish, this idea of the 14-year cycle of colder winters. It possibly works-ish, but the key point is to pinpoint which is the winter, you see. And actually, the signal maybe looks stronger a little bit later on, really, through the 20th century. You possibly, or certainly the second half of the 20th century, the signal may be a little bit stronger. Further back, maybe the signal's actually slightly weaker. I don't know. But next week, we might actually do some reanalysis with some of these years from 1952 anyway. From 1950, we might do some reanalysis and see how they come out. That might be the first set of analogues that you'll see in next week's second winter update. Anyway, thank you to Shrine Broom for sorting out the table there. Thank you so much, Shrine. 14-year cycle of colder winters. Does it work? Is there a 14-year cycle of colder winters? And if there is, what would be the reason behind that? Let me know in the comments what you think about all of this. We're going to be live at 5:30, half an hour earlier than normal. I'd normally be live at 6, but tonight live at 5:30 till 6:30, because I'm after the pictures later to see Star Wars. So, got any questions about this or comments, you know, particularly about the 14-year cycle of cold winters, and also Richard's outside of the box, of course, and anything else that's seen in this winter update, please fire away on the live stream at 5:30, and I shall do my best to answer those comments for you. Thank you to Shrine for the data through this update. Thank you to Richard for the data through this update, and especially for the outside the box special. You enjoy your holiday, my friend. Richard, I think it's off next Sunday for his holiday. So you enjoy your holiday, my friend. And when Richard gets back, the King of Swing will be swinging away for us. And of course, thank you as always to Terry Scaldi as well. Hashtag Team Gav, helping to bring the winter updates and all of our long range updates and forecasts together. So thank you so much to hashtag Team Gav, Richard, Terry, and also Shrine too. We'll end the first winter update there. I think it's been a pretty decent start. What do you think, everybody? It's been all right? I think so. I hope so. Anyway, thank you so much, and we'll be back next week with more same time, same place for our second winter 2024-25 update. So we shall see you then, same time, same place. I'll end it there. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I'll see you a little bit later on for our live stream. But for the first Winter 2024-25 update, that's all for now. And thanks for watching. Woo!